Hello, everyone. Sad Sangat Astrology here. I am back with the part 6 of USA Pluto return. This occurs February 20th, 2022. And I have been doing videos since last year. And you feel free to start with number 1. There's a lot of information that I have been discovering and sharing along the way. And here is my contact information. If you are interested and if you like my work, please comment, share, like the video. I appreciate very much your support. So let's dive in the latest part of my work on USA Pluto return. I'm happy to share this information with you so you are prepared for next year and the years to come, right? So I will share with you the chart and we'll get started. So we have, just as a reminder, this is the chart of the USA with, no, this one. I have several charts open ready to share with you. So with Pluto at 27 degrees 33 minutes of Capricorn, right? In the second house. So this is the natal chart, and I will explore the transits of February 22nd, 2022. Specifically, I have been explaining in the part 5. I hope you don't miss it because there's a lot of information on that one. And in this one, I will finish exploring the transits as well. Let me share the, here is the transit chart. Okay, so the transit chart shows the Pluto return. The outside wheel is the transit. The inside wheel is the natal chart. And I repeat again for those who are new to astrology, planetary return is called when the transiting planet comes back to the same point where the natal planet was, right? In this case, is Pluto coming back to the same location where it was when the United States were founded. And it comes with several other important transits that I will continue analyzing today. So let me check my notes here. I apologize for my voice, that is kind of constricted. So yeah, I have Pluto opposing my Mercury as well as in the natal chart of the United States, Mercury is at 24 of Cancer, and Pluto has been opposing, Mercury. I spoke about this in a previous episode of this series. So don't miss it, watch them all. They're very instructional. But yeah, Pluto opposing the natal Mercury can be constricting and can change your voice, right? So today I will speak a little bit more about the third house and I use, for countries, I use a whole sign house system. So here we are, the third house in Aquarius, where we have been having all this activity lately, right? We had 2 full moons there. We've had in December, we've had the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, and a lot of activity. We also had at the beginning of the year in February, a stellium in Aquarius. So I guess the 3rd house has been pounded in the USA chart, right? So now we also have not only the Pluto opposition to Mercury, but we have this Mercury right conjunct almost exactly with the natal USA South Node, or Ketu, right, in traditional Indian astrology. So what does that mean? Mercury in right in with Ketu, right? So first of all, the 3rd house is about everything that is communication in the country, the press, the media, the post office, communication networks and devices, companies, communications through computers, phones, newspapers, emails, all kinds of publications, TV, etc. But it's also the propaganda. It's also national rumors and, gossip, and relationships like trade, business, transportation, the traffic, business, and also the elementary educational system, the language that is spoken in the country, and as well as the documents involved in international agreements, meaning contracts, right? And also neighboring countries. And all of that has been affected by this Mercury conjunct the South Node in the 3rd house. So there is indication here of problems doing business and finishing deals, trades, local trades, issues with communication, exchange of information, and the networks of information, the media. So all that will have issues to resolve, let's say, but as well as changes that need to be done to the media, and also freedom of speech, which represents Mercury in Aquarius, right? The freedom of speech. And if you see that Saturn is there as well, so, well, there's not so much freedom of speech. And there is a need to leave behind certain ideas that people have in the country. And also there could be data errors that need to be clarified. In general, youth will play an important role, especially this day. Right, in the youth, we can bring back issues of the past because of the South Node. So information can bring stories from the past that have relevance at this time. So, and need to be reviewed and need to be reconsidered, let's say. So also Mercury rules the 7th house and the 10th house in the chart, which means that there could be frustrations in relationships with the allies, or it could be frustrations also with enemies of the country, because seventh house is both partners and as well as enemies. And also there could be frustrations in the government, in the official government. So especially the executive, which is represented by this area of Virgo. So this is very important. I mean, Mercury represents the mind, the thinking, and the speech, right, in the country. Anything that that relates to communications in general. It also is about bridges, and recently there was a passing of a bill that contains reconstruction of bridges and all kinds of network of transportation networks, right? As well as broadcasting and internet networks. So we see that we're coming back to the past, and we are recovering what is useful, and we need to renew those things and leave behind what is useless. So another thing is, let me see. Here we have the sun conjunct the moon. It's separating already, but it has been conjunct a few days earlier, about 4 or 5 days earlier. And this transit brings a greater emotional expression in people, especially, right? Because the moon represents the people, and highlights domestic issues as well, and affairs of the fourth house, like business, real estate, and farming, domestic products and services. All of those are highlighted by the sun in the fourth house. And there could be also speculation in financial investments as well. And remember that the moon rules the eighth house, and the eighth house is about taxes, shared resources, right? As you can see, the ruler of the ninth house of international affairs and trade, right, and foreign affairs and trade, it is in the eighth house. So generally speaking, the United States have been going abroad in order to find resources, right? And so this conjunction of the sun with the moon will shed light on those foreign resources that that might be needed or somehow come to importance, right? So let me see what else. In the fourth house, also with Jupiter and Neptune transiting there, there could be losses, important losses as well. I mentioned the dreamy state of the fourth house in my previous segment, and I forgot to mention about the losses. But one thing that I want to share with you is this opposition Neptune, transiting Neptune to natal Neptune. All right, I promised to explain what it means to you. And in order to do that, I did some research, and the conjunction, because everything is cycles, right? We're talking about cycles within cycles. And in this case, this will be like the full Neptune to Neptune. But the conjunction of Neptune happened in 1938 and 1939. And if you remember, it was the Great Depression. There was a time of upheaval, but a time of great chaos, right? Of great chaos, and especially financial panic, because people didn't have the resources needed to survive. And at that time, Jupiter was in Pisces, opposing Neptune. So we have now the initiation of the cycle of Jupiter and Neptune, whereas back then it was the opposition. So at this time we have this amplification of the chaos, right? And let me go back in history as well. I have some notes here that I would like to share with you, because the previous opposition, Neptune to Neptune, happened in 1857 or 1858. And during those years, there was a great instability because of chaos and panic, especially regarding society, right? And we know that the fourth house represents people. And during the 1858, the chaos came from this polarization from those pro-slavery and against slavery, right? I have a note here. I'm going to put the references in the description box below so you know what I am quoting from. So this is from March 4th, 1857. It says, James Buchanan is sworn into office as the 15th president of the United States. His tenure as president would be marred by the question of slavery and a compromise stance that would neither alleviate nor eradicate the intractable question from American society. So there was this polarity or conflict, opposition brewing already that led later on to the Civil War, right? So in March 6th, on March 6, 1857, the Supreme Court of the United States rules in the Dred Scott decision 6-3 that a slave did not become free when transported into a free state. It also ruled that slavery could not be banned by the US Congress in the territory, and that Blacks were not eligible to be awarded citizenship. So see, it was pretty bad that time. And there was also a financial panic in the fall of 1857. And the causes of the panic stem partly from the international economy and partly from domestic overexpansion. So I'll put the quotes in the description below, so there is more information, you can read more about it. And the banking superintendent of New York, James Cook, at the time described the panic as without apparent reason and derived from past experience. So that was June 23rd, 1858, with the strife between pro-slavery and anti-slavery partisans was escalating to dramatic chaos. So as you see, there was financial and societal chaos and upheaval. So, and that was the previous time when Neptune opposed a Neptune. So transiting Neptune, opposing Neptune. So we may have chaos, we may have, Pisces is a sign represented by two fish, one going one direction and the other one going the other direction. So what best represents the society of the United States? It couldn't have been chosen better, right? And that is what is happening, that there is one sector of society going one way and the other going the other way. So, and there is this pull and push against each other, right? And apparently coming Neptune here, it aggravates the chaos. And you add Jupiter, even more chaos, and you add the sun, and the sun is shedding the light and bringing that to the day, to the light of the day. So you can expect a great chaos. And not only that, but they are both Neptune and Neptune are squaring the natal Mars. So it could be even violence and in the context, in this context, or brewing violence that may come later on. I may silence my phone. Okay, so that was something that I wanted to share with you. The other factor is the nodal axis. Now the nodal axis has moved from Gemini Sagittarius into Taurus and Scorpio. And as you see, as I said before, Scorpio represents shared resources, but also it is the 12th house of the country where all the secrets and underground things are going on, and it's ruled by Pluto, right, in the second house. So what happens is that all the secret deals and issues that are hidden from the public are economic issues, economic things, deals that are hidden and they're done under cover, right? Well, the South Node is now in the 12th house. So the South Node is let's say cleaning up the 12th house and calling to go towards the North Node in Taurus. So in this case, I interpret as North Node in the 6th house as becoming self-sufficient economically. And if you take a look at the ruler of the North Node in Taurus is Venus, and Venus is here. With Mars very pushy, aggressive in the 2nd house of resources, of money making, etc. So we are required to be self-sufficient. And if we consider the 6th house is everything about the 6th house is everything about problems that need to be fixed. It is about the sectors of society that are less disadvantaged or less advantaged. And it's also about the healthcare and the general health of the population. So the 6th house according to the book of Laura Halding, it is also about the nation's food reserves, right? Especially grains and the farming industry. It's also about public employees like service, military, working classes in general, such as the civil service, the armed forces, the police, and those who serve the people, right? It is also representing factories, trade unions, social security services, and unemployment insurance and disability allowances. So the sixth house is also the vulnerability of the health of the nation, the health of people in the nation, and the healthcare services. So as you see, it is this North Node that is highlighting the sixth house. And not only that, but if you take a look, the nodal axis is squaring the natal moon, which is practically the master or the lord of the nodal axis, because it is the moon with the sun that forms those nodes of the moon. So having the moon squaring the nodes is having the people, right, moving from the south node into the north node. Because the north node is coming towards the moon. So as you see, the people will play an important role in this development of achieving self-sufficiency. Okay, what else? I don't think it's going to be too long because there were just a few things that I wanted to share. But another thing that now I'm going to do a new share. Another thing to consider is the progressed chart. I found it very interesting here. I found it very interesting. See, the progressed chart, in the progressed chart, the country has become a Virgo rising. And with the sun is in Pisces. So this is an interesting combination for a healing. Right, the Virgo Pisces axis is healing, and we have a Neptune at the end of Virgo here. So it is a mutable chart. It is an air, mainly mutable air, right? You see that with a mutable chart, you can expect more flexibility. The progressed chart is the chart that follows the movement of the planets one day at a time, right? And it's translated 1 day to 1 year. So one of the important things here is the North Node is in Cancer. And Cancer, if you remember, is the 8th house of the natal chart. So, and we have Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted there. So it is very strong Jupiter. And Sagittarius, which rules Jupiter, has become the 4th house now. So the first house now became the 4th house. So it is quite a change, right? And we have Chiron in Aries with the shared resources, so there are problems there. And one of the interesting things is having Pluto at 29 degrees progressed, which means that the Pluto return will last longer than we previously thought, right? It is also in the critical degree, the last degree, the very last of Capricorn. So this is a very interesting feature. Not only that, but is conjunct the South Node. So meaning that everything that represents, that Pluto represents will be up for review, the past, right? And everything that Pluto rules in the 12th house of Scorpio will be up for review. What else? We have Saturn in Scorpio, Saturn in the progress chart, and falling in the 12th house natally. And we have Uranus next to the midheaven, which talks about sudden changes in the government, right? And in Gemini represents this polarity that we have been experiencing between the two parties, right? What else? Oh, the other thing is this balsamic dark moon that is coming to meet the sun, right? And I went back and looked at the cycle of this moon that lasts 28 years approximately, sometimes 28 and a half, right? Because every day is 1 year. The cycle of the moon from a progressed new moon to the next new moon is 28 and a half years. And the previous new moon happened here at 19 degrees, midpoint between the moon and Mercury, right, at 19 degrees of Aquarius in September 25, 1994. And that was the progressed new moon. And now we're closing that cycle. We are closing those almost 30 years, right? And if you know your country's history, you may remember what happened back then in 1994, right? And here we have the moon and very dark because it is under the rays of the sun, and it's invisible, right? So conjunct, almost conjunct Mercury pretty soon. We can expect this moon to be, is the people, right? To be very expressive, emotionally expressive, but behind the scenes, and also if we take the sun as the first house, then it will be the 12th house from the sun, meaning that is behind the sun. So there is a lot of conversations going on behind the sun. If you understand what I mean. Anyways, so the next new moon, progressed new moon, will be pretty close to where the sun is now, 19 degrees of Pisces. March 25, 2024. Apparently, the year 2024, there are several very important events that will happen, and the country will become a new country, right? Pluto will move to Aquarius. Saturn, Neptune to Aries. Saturn will conjoin Neptune in Aries at 0 Aries, which is quite an event. And we will have this new moon in Pisces. And in the natal chart, if you remember, Pisces is the 4th house, which is the most secret and intimate part of the country. In this chart, it is the 7th. So it may represent alliances, a new cycle with a new kind of allies for the country. But it's also, Pisces is the sign of losses and is the sign of where things are diluted and they disappear, they are invisible. So this new moon may represent some big losses and changes, very profound changes in the country. So that will be, again, a cycle that will start in 2024 and will last 28.5 years until the next new moon in Aries, right? So as I said, this is an important factor to consider because we are closing a cycle from now until 2024, which I have already told you in different ways for different features and different aspects. But this is another technique or configuration that confirms that 2024 will be a crucial, very a crossroad point where the country will definitely step into the new identity. So I think I have mentioned everything that I wanted to share today, and I don't want it to make it too long, so I'm going to stop the share here, and I will give you my contact information here if you like to contact me for any information, a reading or a consultation of astrological content. Feel free to contact me. And I also am on social media, so I hope you follow me there. So thank you so much for watching, and I will continue this series. I don't know how long, but as long as I have information to share with you, I will come back and share it. But for now, get ready for February 22, 2022, when Pluto will return. Not a small event, let me tell you. So hopefully we are all ready for transformation and preparing for a happy new beginning in 2024. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best. Bye.